Hello and welcome to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host today, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. And we're preparing for springtime here in Cottonwood, Arizona, in central Arizona. It's that time of the year. And you know what? It's warm outside. And I don't know what's going on. They said it was going to be raining like crazy in probably February and March, and we barely had anything. But we're getting prepared for the Brian Mickelsen Memorial and Marathon, half marathon, 10K, 2 mile. And so all these things are coming up on April 16th. And so it's going to be here quick. And so we're just letting people know all around the community as well. And I know that today we're very, very fortunate to have Lynn Mickelsen here with us as well today. And also Ryan Bigelow, who's our Recreation Services Supervisor at the Cottonwood Recreation Center and all of the sports programs you put on, as well as the Brian Mickelsen Marathon and Memorial. And so welcome both of you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
It's always my pleasure, Lynn, and having you, whenever we possibly can. This is kind of the first time that you've done this with us.
Yep.
I don't know if you've done this before with anybody, and so welcome to Inside Cottonwood. We basically every year we kind of go through as to any of the changes that are ongoing with the Mickelsen Memorial and race events. And so this is one of those things that we're going to be doing today. We're going to be going through some things. But it's really a pleasure having Lynn here because there's a lot of exciting things that are going on. And so we'll be talking with Lynn a little bit more. And we'll get a little bit more of a background there. But I wanted to give you a little bit more insight as to the marathon and Brian Mickelsen. And it's always, I go through this each year, and so I wanted to make this presentation again in the context that Brian was my boss for 17 years, and he was an incredible manager for Cottonwood. And he was an avid runner. He was a cyclist. He was a hockey player. I always remember him coming and indicating, how was the hockey courts and what we needed to do and everything. He was an incredible soccer coach. I had the opportunity to coach with him and as an assistant coach. And he was always my mentor, even though I was older than he was. It was just kind of one of those things. He was a friend and a wonderful, loving husband and immersed father into his sons' lives. And Brian passed away in August of 2007 on a training run just north of Cottonwood on an early Sunday morning. And Brian actually had 4 passions, and I like to always say this, that were reflected as his internal compass: his wife, who's here today, Lynn, and his love for his children, his love for just activities such as running, physical activity as a way of life, and what we always bring about here in Cottonwood now, which kind of is a forerunner to what Brian always preached to us. And he also had an intense love for Cottonwood and the Verde Valley. And I was like calling him my friend because he was always that. But I want to move forward with things here with Ryan in the first segment, and we'll get in with Lynn as the second segment. Kind of round things out here then as we go into the third one as to, kind of what's going to happen on race day. And so, Ryan, as we delve into the marathon aspect of this event, what can you tell us about this series of run programs that the City of Cottonwood offers on April 16th of this year?
Well, I think we have to start with kind of the legacy that Brian's leaving us. He was obviously a big supporter of our Parks and Recreation Department, the things that we were able to do. It's fitting that it's at Riverfront Park, someplace that he loved. We get to note all of the programs that we do down there. This is one of them, and this is one of the big ones that we do. We're also very fortunate to have administrative staff right now that's very supportive of health, wellness, and recreation. This is something that we want to keep the entire community involved with, something that everybody can look forward to on an annual basis. They know when it's going to be coming. It's that third Saturday in April. They can get ready for it all year long and be ready to run. And we like to promote that we have a race for everybody.
That's right.
It doesn't matter if you don't have to be a marathon runner to get out there. Trust me, I've been running, but not enough to be doing a marathon at this point. So
you can walk it.
You can walk it, right? You can always walk it. There's a marathon, a half marathon, which is pretty extensive, but a 10K and a 2 mile. So you know, we get a lot of folks who can do that 2 mile, and we like to promote that there's a race for everybody.
Well, you know, and as we take a look at the race in Riverfront Park and the beauty of Riverfront, let's also talk about the experience that these folks are going to have on the way, like Sycamore Canyon, some of the other aspects of the beauty, and then also running through Old Town. It's just an incredible run.
It's pretty phenomenal. You know, there was a big group of people who put their hands in the pot because they all liked and wanted to, you know, pay respects to Brian. We had a big group of people creating these courses, or specifically the half marathon course, because we wanted to provide something that showcased what the Verde Valley had to offer. And boy, I think we really did a good job of doing that, starting at Riverfront Park, taking people through Old Town Cottonwood, and you know, this is the 8th year, and Old Town's really, you know, shaped itself up in the last 8 years, so it's really something to be seen. We take them out to Clarkdale, Tuzagoot National Monument, Dead Horse Ranch State Park, all these beautiful areas. The
Verde River.
Yep, the Verde River. Sycamore Canyon is showcased in the marathon course. You head out there and it's peaceful. It's really beautiful. It showcases some red rock. So we're really proud of the courses that we have to offer.
Well, and I remember too, because in 1992 we actually had our first Verde Mingus blowout, and we started that series, and you know, we actually did it with a 10K and then a 2 mile, and kind of that's what we did at the beginning. I remember in the context of the technology, and we were just kind of talking about that here just a minute ago, as to how it's just, it seems like it's increasing weekly, but maybe it's just my brain. But it's one of those things where back in those days, you know, the runners would actually start out, and we actually had our individuals with clocks, and so the actual watches that we had, or the clocks that we had, and we did have a timer, and but as they came back, you know, we actually had people waiting for them to grab their stubs off of their, you know, their shirts, and you know, and if they came in a pack, there was like, you know, 8 to 10 of them, and so everybody was grabbing some of them off of them, and we didn't know who was actually, you know, probably 3rd, 4th, or 5th. You know, it was kind of one of those things. So, you know, the race methodology has come a long way. The technology has just been incredible. You know. What you know, I mean, what's the difference between what we do and, say, you know, what we did back then, and then also, I know that this is no Boston Marathon or New York Marathon, but it's pretty technologically savvy.
Sure, we're on the up and up with that, and that's thanks to Startline Racing. We work with this. Man, 3 years now we'll be working with Startline, and they've come a long ways in their last couple. We were one of their first races that they signed on with, and now they're doing races every weekend. But all it is now is you get yourself a bib, you sign up, you get a bib, and satellites kind of take care of the rest. Right. So the manual stuff is taken out. They can actually track where you're at during the race. So if you want to see where Lynn is on the race, you can know that. So technology has really made the timing aspect of things go a lot smoother. There is no bottleneck at the finish line there, and you have to grab people's stuff. The only bottlenecking there will be is to get people their finishers medals. So it's really come a long ways.
Well, before we take our break, I wanted to ask you, who are the main sponsors of this event? So tell us about them.
Sure, and we always have to thank our sponsors. They're Northern Arizona Healthcare has been involved with this event since the beginning, and you know, Entire Care is out there doing their stretching and whatnot. So they're part of Northern Arizona Healthcare, so they're out there physically as well, and we have to thank them for that. Of course, the city of Cottonwood is the primary sponsor of this event. Solomon Sports, the Cottonwood Chamber of Commerce, Mountain View Villa Apartments, and then Taylor and Huntley Financial Group also is sponsoring this year. So, and the Cottonwood Taco Bell.
Great.
The Cottonwood Taco Bell.
Great.
They always help support us with the volunteers and whatnot. So, I always have to thank our sponsors.
Well, and your plate is always very full. Lynn, yours is too. And I'll talk with you about that here in just a moment as we take a break from Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host today, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it,
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got, or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Good day, and thank you once again for joining us for Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. And this segment, we're going to be discussing some things here with Lynn Mickelsen. We're very pleased and proud to have her on board with us. And Lynn, you're joining us today as our special guest. You were married to Brian, and you have lived in Cottonwood for over 35 years. You were in the banking business for over 3 decades, according to the information I also have here from the newspaper article that came out about 2 weeks ago. So it was really kind of neat to see that. This is the 8th year of the Brian Mickelsen Memorial. You stated in the newspaper article that in addition to being married to longtime Cottonwood City Manager, the late Brian Mickelsen, you indicated that in addition to your professional life, you're committed to carrying on Brian's legacy through the work done by the Brian Mickelsen Memorial Run and Walk. Can you tell us can you tell us how much Brian loved the outdoors and combining sports in his life and his family? I mean, it was kind of like,
yeah, it was
I even remember him even, actually escaping from the office at times and just going out and just kind of taking a run or a walk around or whatever.
Yeah.
But, it's just the way Brian was. It was just part of his life. That's who he was.
Yeah, he was very community-oriented also.
Yes.
But, being a soccer coach and always on the field with the boys and just running when he wasn't working.
Right.
And then when we're on vacation, we were always looking at other communities to see what he could bring back to Cottonwood.
Always. I remember that.
Always.
Even when you went to France, and I remember that there was
Paris,
even
yes, and
there was information there on the sewer treatment plant, and he was even gathering and garnishing information there too.
That was our 25th wedding anniversary that
Okay.
we went there for. I was like, really?
Well, he was also known as Mr. Cottonwood. I mean, I
Yes, he
remember
was.
even there was an article on, it was one of the papers, and it was actually Mr. Cottonwood, and everybody referred to him at that point. He was the quintessential manager in the context of, love for community in the valley as he dedicated himself to a better Cottonwood.
Right.
And the people that he served, the community thrived, I think, because of Brian. I think that was passed on here into Doug, and I think it's just really been a neat thing. So, do you have any aspirations for the future of the Mickelsen Memorial Special Event Program?
Just to keep it going,
Yeah.
help Ryan. He's doing a great job.
Yeah.
And I kind of stepped back a little bit and let him take the reins and the day of, I'm like really involved, and Ryan sees me a lot then, but I try and stay out of the picture.
Well, we
Kinda.
You know, you've seen the program grow over the years, and so has there been changes that you've noticed, or is it just kind of, it's really a nice event. It's great. We do have a lot of locals.
Yeah.
We've been about the same for the last couple, 2-3 years for the amount of people that we actually have.
I love to see the community come together and just really embrace each other and to get some fresh air and exercise.
Right.
And it's just always been a beautiful day.
Well, you still do play a big role, as it pertains to this event. Tell us, those who don't know, what goes on behind the scenes a little bit and what it's like on the race day.
Behind the scenes, we're always, looking for sponsors, and I put together a raffle so that I can use that money towards donating to the search and rescue, and also Verde Valley Humane Society. We have water stations, we have volunteers, we have, bag pickup days, and just organizing the whole thing. It's a lot easier because it's all in place, but it's last minute, a lot of things going on.
And there's always, Ryan, there's always something that happens that's unexpected.
Yeah, I think Lynn's being pretty modest because it seems like, the day of particularly, you're kind of running around and something unexpected inevitably happens,
Yes.
and we're kind of...
Chalk line gets erased or something.
We are kind of scrambling, and then the hope is that nobody who's participating really understands that behind the scenes we might be a little bit frantic at the moment, and we try not to share that or show that.
We do a good job, I think.
We do okay.
You do great.
I think we do okay, but there's always something.
Well, now, Lynn, you've been a participant as well. And can you tell us about the experience and if you plan to run again this year? I'm sorry, I had to.
I usually do the 2 mile,
Okay.
and I always start running, and I always finish running. But there's that walk part. I want to, make sure I get that in there.
Yeah.
There was one year that I did the 10K.
Wow.
And
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember Kai ran it, and then Kai finished and ran back to get me to run back with me. So I was like,
that's great.
How nice of him.
Yeah.
Well, now you've got a lot going on as we continue to talk about things, because I know I'm going to talk here a moment about your sons now. Because Dane and Kai, and I know Dane more than I do Kai, but now tell us about Dane and 5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago, Ashley and Dane got married at the race.
At the race.
So it's their 5-year anniversary.
That's awesome.
Really excited for them.
Yes. And what else? So I know that now I'm going to go ahead with this. I know you were trying to get hold of Dane to make sure this, because this is going to be out there. So you're probably going to let him know, hey, by the way, go on and take a look. But he can kill me later if he wants to. But kind of tell us a little bit about the involvement, with your sons. Dane is currently a Black Hawk helicopter pilot, and he is working with a private company. And after his service to our country as a Black Hawk pilot in the Army. And so Dane's now living in what state?
Idaho.
Idaho. Okay, so he's not far away from his brother in Montana.
Right, and I can drive there.
And you can drive there and see them both. Now, because Kai is doing what?
He's getting his doctorate in chemistry.
And he's, that's just amazing, because I remember when he was such a little guy running around. And
All over Cottonwood.
All over, and this white-haired little boy running around all over the place. And then all of a sudden, next thing I see is in high school, and there's still this now taller, young man running around Cottonwood all over the place. And now he's going for his doctorate in chemistry. And what school is he going to?
Montana State.
Montana State.
Up in Bozeman.
He's a Grizzly. So
okay.
Yeah, I know that.
Oh, okay.
What does Kai want to do with his PhD?
Not sure.
Not sure.
He just wants to finish school.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't say.
Yeah, and now he's planning on getting married then.
He is. He's planning on getting married this year.
2 sons married.
Yep. Yep.
All right. So that's a change. Now you've also after 3 decades of of working in the banking business, you just made a change, and you're doing what now?
I retired for a little while.
Yes.
And went and spent some time with my boys and
Good for you.
went and visited my brother. And then I decided it's kind of lonely and quiet at home.
Yeah.
So I went to work with Taylor and Huntley and doing financial services.
And you're enjoying it.
I'm
Because I
loving
could
it.
tell, because before we got started with the program, you were smiling really big, man. And I know you, Lynn. So it was one of those where you're enjoying it. That's great, and it's wonderful to see.
Thank
you. Again, we appreciate you being here. We also appreciate everything you do at the race and on race
Thanks.
day and everything that you do to promote. So
It's pretty emotional, and
yes.
it's very tough, but I know how much it meant to Brian, the community, and so I'm there for him and for the city of Cottonwood.
Sure, we appreciate that too. So thank you,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. And so we're gonna take another break. Thanks for joining us this morning. And again, we're going to be talking about in our third segment here with Ryan a little bit more about the race itself. And so come back here in just one moment. I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. At work or at play, you're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Oh, hey. She's cute. Nice going, man. Things are going great for you. You've earned a night out. Good drinks, good friends. Yeah, we can go ahead and call this a good night. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Not smart. Yeah, I saw that coming. Say goodbye to her. Ouch, that'll hurt your bank account. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. I hope you like eating frozen dinners. Alone. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. We appreciate you being here. We're talking about the Mickelsen Memorial and the marathon, the half marathon, the 10K, and the 2 mile. Want to go over that with Ryan Bigelow here, who's our Recreation Services Supervisor, and get a little bit more information from him as it pertains to actual race events. And I'll shut up and I'll move forward and ask him the questions and let him answer. So tell us a bit about the BMM and the Brian Mickelsen Memorial and how it's changed over the past years. Because it has.
Absolutely.
And race events evolve for one reason or the other. And has this occurred with this program as well?
Absolutely. We're talking about in the break. It's hard to imagine that this is the 8th year.
Yes.
Time flies when you're having fun, I guess, or when you're just extraordinarily busy. But we've at one point 4 years ago we added a marathon to the event. We've made course changes. We've had the course certified, so now it is a Boston Marathon qualifier.
Wow. Okay.
We've changed timing companies twice. This year we're actually adding a bag pickup location in Scottsdale to try to encourage more folks from the Phoenix area to get involved. So every year you kind of do a little bit of tinkering. You try to make it a little bit better than it was the last year, but at the same time, it's really stayed a lot the same.
We've had a wedding. We've had
a wedding.
Yeah.
Your wife was.
We've had
Yeah.
We had babies.
we've had babies since then. But really the heart of the event, surrounds around the community. The volunteers, we always every year get so many compliments on our water stations, how friendly they are, how encouraging they are. So really this is a community event in every
It's such a
in every
great
sense.
team.
Yeah, really.
Our
it
team
is.
of volunteers and Ryan, it's just
Yeah.
awesome.
It's one of the unique ones that we have in the state, I think. So I think it's a
Absolutely.
great program. How do you prepare for an event like this? I mean, there's got to be so much behind scenes. We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is incredible, especially with the amount of race events that are ongoing. I mean, and so it starts early, but I mean, the preparation starts, probably 6 months in advance.
Yeah, I mean, It's evolved in that aspect too, because it used to be, we had to plan everything out. But now in the 8th year, we've got a little bit more of a routine. I know who to go to get the permits. I know where the food's going to come from. There's a lot of the T-shirts, a lot of the details that we've kind of worked through.
And the meetings aren't quite as regular as they used to be.
Yes.
Yeah, and sometimes that's by default. But how do we prepare? We do start registration. Usually starts about 6 months in advance, because there are people who travel from all across the country to be here. One of the things they like to do is plan this out. So I know we already have registrations from Florida, from California. We've got people coming over. It's a name brand event for not just Arizona, but across the country.
And can't we register at the city now?
Yeah, absolutely. You can always register cottonwoodaz.gov. There's a registration link there, and always at the Cottonwood Recreation Center.
So registration is ongoing even as we speak.
As we speak,
Yes.
I think it opened.
Even day of.
Day of.
Yep, you can
That's
register.
right.
You can register.
It's on the screen there, www.cottonwoodaz.gov. So there you go.
And you can always register. If you wanted to wait to see what the weather is going to be like that day, you can always register at the event.
Right.
So there's always opportunity to register.
So when we were talking a little bit about volunteers also before our program and race day, and what are actually the responsibilities of those volunteers, but so what do they do and who do they contact them?
Sure. We have usually about 100 volunteers all in all. The majority of them are at our water stations, handing out water, encouraging our participants. But we also have people for information, people for food, people to help with registration, people to help bag stuffing.
Yes.
So we always give all the participants a race bag. So they fold up the shirts. We put all the bags together. We get the bibs figured out. So when they do come, yeah, Denise Diedrich is a huge part of that.
Awesome. Yeah, she really
instrumental.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's a go-getter when it comes to all that stuff. And so, like we said, we have a good team put together. The responsibilities where we got people we can really rely on. And they know what they're doing. So if they want to volunteer, they can always contact Lynn. They can contact us at Parks and Recreation. We will find a job for them. Maybe running's not their thing, but they still want to be involved in the community.
Right.
It's a really good way to do that.
Because they're actually putting together almost 600 to 650 bags.
Yeah.
Right.
In preparation for this. It takes a lot of time to stuff all of the shirts and everything else into those bags.
Well, with all the volunteers we have, we get it done in one night, and we have pizza. He brings
Yeah, that's
pizza.
great.
And
He's a good guy.
It's fun. Yeah, he is a good guy.
Healthy eating, we're really focused on that.
Ryan, what date and time are the events throughout the day? And are there any other things going on throughout race day at Riverfront?
It's very early.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
we-
is.
On the 16th.
We start early. We're out there no later than
4:35?
4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning. You can register starting at 5:15 a.m. that morning. The marathon starts at 6 a.m. because we want to get those folks out and about and get them moving
Before it gets too
before
hot.
it gets too warm. So it's a safety thing really, that we want to start them when the temperatures are cooler and get them moving. Because some folks can take up to 6 to 7 hours to finish a full marathon, which we encourage and is fine. But for their safety, we would like to see them start early. The half marathon starts at 7:30. The 10K then right after that at 7:40, then the 2-mile right after that. So we get everybody kind of lined up at the start-finish line there, and every 10 minutes we send them out in waves. So it ends up being quite the scene. If you haven't seen it, there's stacks and stacks of people there. And we
a lot
always
of supporters too. A lot of people cheering people on.
cheering,
really
taking
good.
pictures.
And Susie Beach is always taking pictures.
Yep.
Posting
She loves
those.
it.
Yeah.
She really does. So when and where can runners pick up their bibs and their T-shirts?
So, like we said, this year, the Thursday, the 14th, they can go to the Roadrunner in Scottsdale. So that'll be our Phoenix location.
Okay.
But then Friday, before at the Cottonwood Recreation Center from 11 to 7, we do a bag pickup, and we try to do a pasta dinner there too. So we include. It makes your day of experience a little bit easier. One less logistic that you have to worry about the morning of. You're focused on finishing a half marathon or a 10K. You don't want to have to worry about where's my bib, where do I pick up my bag.
That's right.
You can get all that taken care of, peace of mind. So then you have one goal and one focus in mind on the race day, and that's finishing.
And they can always buy raffle tickets from me, which
There you go.
can I say who my
Yeah,
sponsors
please
are?
do.
I have the Blazed M Ranch, the Verde Canyon Railroad, Jerome Historical Society, La Victoria in Jerome, Sally Peck Beaded Jewelry, and Lynn Mickelsen Massage.
Okay, great. Well, that's good because I mean, that's good to know who's actually out there doing those things.
You can get tickets at the rec center and
right.
also through me.
Okay,
They're $5 each.
there you go. So, and again, it's for a good cause.
It is.
You know, definitely so. And they all, you know, they need your help. So
it goes to the search and rescue.
Right.
Most all of it.
Okay. So as we look at cost of the various race events, tell us about that and what those costs are. And they're very reasonable, but how do you keep the costs low as well?
Well, right now for the full marathon it's 70, for the half marathon it's 50, the 10K is 30, and the 2 miles 20. You're right; these are very reasonable rates.
I see them up in the 100 to 150 to 180 costs anymore.
One of the big reasons is we have a lot of community support, which we're able to keep our costs down. I would say the primary reason, though, is because the city backs this event. The city has invested that health, wellness, these types of things are important to our community, and with their support, we're able to keep the costs low. With the city support, police, fire, public works, there's all these various departments that are major contributors to this event that a private entity would be needing to pay for as additional services. We partner with the other departments in the city. We have great working relationships with these other departments in the city.
It's true.
And it really comes. We're extraordinarily fortunate that our administration has made those decisions. Our council has made those decisions to want to have this event, keep it at a reasonable cost, and really promote public health.
And I know that there are age groups and categories. Talk about that real quick.
Yeah, we have various age groups. Which one of the neat things is you want to kind of get a medal afterwards. So this year we're actually going to just have finishers medals for everybody, which is really unique.
That's great.
Really a great item that everybody kind of feels involved. If you cross the finish line, we're going to hand you a medal. But then at the same time, we have additional medals for placement. So if you get first, second, or third in your age group, we just go by every about 5 years. So you can get an additional medal. So there's a competitive aspect to it too, and you can kind of see where you're at relative to your age group, and that's always fun. And to see where, if I can beat so and so,
and there are challenges.
Or there's somebody who's 10 years older than me that beat me by 5 minutes. Maybe I need to work on that.
I was talking to someone the other day, and she said that she's going to get her whole 4th grade class together, and they're going to do like a little competition.
See, that's wonderful, and that's where the community gets involved, and that's
what
exactly
we
what
see
we're
more than anything else. It's great.
That's what we want.
Perpetuate that, so that's a good thing. Well, we're again at that point in time where we're going to be taking a look at a lot of different things that are going on in our community, and it's great to see this program continuing. We want to thank you also for being here today as we close out. And again, remember the Brian Mickelsen Memorial is upcoming April 16th, and if you have any questions or need any additional information, you can get in touch with us at 928-639-3200, or you can actually get in touch with Robin Babbitt at rbabbitt@cottonwoodaz.gov, or just go ahead and go right online and just do cottonwoodaz.gov, and you can come on and find the location of the Brian Mickelsen Memorial at that point too. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it greatly. Enjoy your springtime and join us at the Brian Mickelsen Memorial. I'm going to close this out. I'm Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. Enjoy your day.